Hello and welcome. So in today's project, we're going to create a Bitcoin price tracker. So let's take a look at how that's going to look like. So right here, we have multiple currencies to choose from. Let's use pounds and we input one. So the price of one Bitcoin in pounds would be 7,540, and we can choose a bunch of other ones. We have euros, US dollars, Japanese yen, and we can change it. We put in 2 or 3 and keep moving forward. So that's pretty much how the app is going to look like. Very simple, and you can implement this into your own app if you decide you want to make a Bitcoin price tracker. All right, so let's get started. So just create a new project, and we're gonna go ahead and start setting up the storyboard for this. So we're just gonna need 3 things. First is a label, secondly a picker view, and last a text field. And we'll make some minor tweaks to this label. Since this is going to display our price, we want it pretty big, so go ahead and go into large title, and we'll add some constraints to this. So for the picker view, we'll do 0, 0, and 0. For the text field, we'll go ahead and do 20, 20, and we'll do 8 from the picker view. And for the label, we'll just do 20, 20, and 150 is okay. And then we'll just center the text. And we'll give this lastly some placeholder text. So that about does it for our UI. I mean, it's pretty simple for tutorial purposes. If you plan on making this a full-blown app, feel free to go ahead and design this as you wish. So we'll go ahead and start programming this. So if we go ahead and option click on the storyboard, we can bring it up side by side with our view controller. And afterwards, we just want to control drag from here to create 3 outlets. So we're going to name this one the price label. We're going to name this amount text field. And we're going to name this one picker view. And let's just go ahead and clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to create pragma marks here. So this is the view lifecycle, and this is the IB outlets. All right, now that we have this set up, we can start to work with our JSON data. So we can go ahead and just close the storyboard. And this is the API we're going to use. It is blockchain. This is the URL. I'll put this in the video description. So go ahead and click on it, and you'll be presented with this JSON data. If you have an extension that makes this more presentable, feel free to go ahead and use that. But what I'd like to use is this online JSON viewer. So all I have to do is copy this and then just paste it over here. Make sure you're on the text portion and just click on viewer, and you get this nice presentable format. I'll go ahead and make sure I put this in the video description for you guys. So there are 3 things we want. First, we want all this right here. So we're going to want it to say USD, euros, all that, so we can have that in the picker view. We're going to want the buying price and the symbol. So let's go ahead and jump back into Xcode, and we're going to make a brand new file. Make sure it's a Swift file, and we're just going to name this Bitcoin data, and go ahead and hit create. All we need to do is create our struct in order to get the data. So if we look here, we need the buy and the currency symbol. So buy is of type double and symbol is of type string. So we can just go ahead and create a struct. We'll just name it Bitcoin data. make it conform to codable, and put let by of type double, and let symbol of type string. Now it's important that you do name these exactly the same way it's named here. Okay, now let's go back to our view controller, and we're going to create our method called func fetch Bitcoin data, and we'll call it here so we don't forget about it later. All right, now it's the time to write the actual code. So let's go ahead and make this full screen. So here we're going to do guard let URL equals URL string, and then we're going to paste in that URL, else return. Afterwards, we're going to do a URL session dot shared dot data task, and we're going to need the one with the completion handler. Right here, you're just going to input that URL you created earlier, and go ahead and hit enter here. That way it completes the closure for us. And we're going to have a data, response, and an error. Now we're going to want to do a couple things here. First, we're going to want to handle the errors if there are any. Afterwards, we're going to want to safely unwrap the data, and then we're going to want to decode the JSON. So let's tackle this one at a time. So if error does not equal nil, meaning there is an error, we just want to print it out, and then we want to return out. And then we want to safely unwrap the data. We can do that with just using the guardlet. So guardlet data equals data, else return. And then we want to decode the JSON. So we're going to do a do catch block. So inside the do block, we're going to do let Bitcoin equals try JSON decoder dot decode. And right here, we're going to do string Bitcoin data and then dot self from data. And then we're going to want to loop through this. So for key value in Bitcoin, let's just print out the key, and let's print out the values as well. Let's do value dot by and value dot symbol, and then we'll handle any errors here on the catch block, and then we'll call our dot resume here. So let's check our console log to see what appears here. Okay, so we can see here in that we have successfully decoded the data. So we have United States dollars, the current buy price, and the currency symbol. We have euros, the buy price, and the currency symbol. So everything's all good. We have successfully decoded the data. Well, all right. Now that our JSON data is successfully decoded, it's time to actually use it inside our picker view. So let's just go ahead and close it here. Now we're going to start off by creating 3 new arrays. So I like to organize my stuff here. We're going to create a currency code array, and this is going to be a string. And then we're going to create a price array to hold all our prices, and this one's going to be of type double. And then finally our symbol array, which is of type string. And now we're going to want to append the key and the 2 values into their respective arrays. So we'll just go ahead and start with the key. So we'll do self.currencycode.append key. Do self.priceArray.append value.buy. And then we'll do self.symbolarray append value.symbol. Perfect. Alright, so next we're going to want to get the methods we need in order to get this information onto the picker view. So we're going to need to inherit from the UI picker view data source and the UI picker view delegate. You might get an error because we're not conforming to the protocol, but we'll add those methods right now. So the one we're going to need is number of components, the number of rows in component, and the title for row. So we'll go ahead and fill these out right now. So for number of components, we can just return 1. Number of rows in components, we're going to return however many currencies we have in this array. So to do that, we just do return currency code dot count, and the title for row is just going to be return currency code row. And then we're going to want to make sure that we assign ourselves as the data source and as the delegate. So we're going to do pickerview.dataSource equals self, pickerview.delegate equals self. And then the last thing we do before we can actually run this is we're going to want to make sure that we do all the UI work on the main thread. So we're going to do dispatch queue.main.async, and here we're going to do self.pickerview.reload all components. And with that, we should be able to actually run our app and see the currency codes appear on the picker view. So perfect, they're there. Now all that's left is for us to get this label to change based off the amount that we type in here. And that's going to be in our next video. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in part 2.